Welcome to the Lapsus Lima podcast. Please support us at lapsuslima.com.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Lapsus Lima podcast. Today we have another interview with the Building Beauty project. Yodan Rofè is an architect and urban planner with over 20 years professional teaching and research experience. He was founder and board member of the Movement for Israeli Urbanism and served for 5 years as head of urban design at Israel's Ministry of Construction and Housing. His research interests include the building process and structure of informal settlements, urban form and movement, accessibility and equity, cognition and feeling in the built environment, and urban public space and street design. He recently edited the book In Pursuit of a Living Architecture, continuing Christopher Alexander's quest for a humane and sustainable building culture, published by Common Ground Publishers. Well, hello, Yodan.
Hi.
Very good to speak with you here. So, we had a little bit of an introduction there, but please tell us a little bit about yourself.
I've been, for me, the school is actually a great opportunity, something which I've been looking forward to for a very long time. My interest in Alexander started very early when I was still in high school. I read Notes on the Synthesis of Form, and when the pattern language books, the Timeless Way of Building, the Oregon Experiment, and a pattern language were published, I think I was right away. I bought them and read them, and later on I went to Berkeley for my master's degree in architecture and studied with Alexander with high on ice. And ever since Chris stopped teaching this material at Berkeley when he retired, and Hayo left for Portland, there really wasn't any place in the world which concentrated really on this kind of teaching. Hayo has been doing excellent work in Portland, and some other ex-students of Chris, like myself, have been teaching this in various urban design and architecture and planning programs, but there wasn't anything really dedicated to this kind of work and to this approach. And so I'm very much hoping that the Building Beauty program will be a success, and we will grow generations of people who will be brought up on these principles.
Well, that sounds really fantastic. One of the things that I think is so great about the program is that you get to integrate the ideas with the practice of directly applying it to a built process. Right.
Indeed, that was really one of Alexander's teachings, that in fact architecture and urban design should be taught in a kind of master and apprentice situation where actual work is being done and not just exercise work. And the reason for that is the need to be very realistic about what could be done and what couldn't be done, and about also about having real client and real places to interact with. So I think in that respect, again, the Building Beauty program affords great opportunities because it will allow this direct involvement with construction. And innovation in this respect is also the issue of growing food and interacting with the natural environment, which I think is an expanded understanding of Alexander's principles, and will also tie it to a lot of what is really going on right now in planning and and in cities where the preoccupation with food, with directly providing our own resources is really paramount.
Yes, I think that's really important in terms of finding the ways that the food ecology fits into the other ecologies of form and feeling.
Right.
And it's one thing that I found interesting about your areas of research was this idea of cognition and feeling in the built environment. And regarding that, we're having a chance to really have a wonderful laboratory for that. What is your perspective on cognition and feeling?
Right. Actually, that was my PhD research. Um, One of Alexander's claims is that roughly 90% of our feelings are shared, and only about 10% are idiosyncratic. And this has been tested by him informally, but really there haven't been any formal psychological experiments done to test that, either in the lab or in the real world. What I try to do in my master's degree is actually to survey what people, in my PhD degree, is to survey what people were feeling in the built environment, in a neighborhood, both residents and non-resident professionals, to be able to map that, to show that it's possible to map these feelings, that these feelings have patterns, and that they change from place to place, and you could show statistically that some places feel better than others in a fairly consistent manner. At the time when I did this in the mid 1990s, that was pretty far out, and nobody really talked about these matters. Cognition was it was done for cognition by Kevin Lynch already in the 1960s and by others, but feeling was kind of outside of the accepted purview of research, at least in urban planning and design. But there's been a change over the past 20 years, and now actually there are a lot of planners and programs who do this on a regular basis. It has been done in Helsinki. It has been done in various places in England. I've shown it in various other contexts as well in subsequent research. So, and there's more and more of an understanding that the issue of feeling is actually of great importance to the economic fortunes of places and to their success, because in the end, people, when they make choices, when they make decisions about where to go, where to live, and what things to do, often do this on the basis of their overall feeling, and not over some kind of calculus of profit or I don't know.
I think it's fascinating that there's been such a transformation now where brain-based topics are really popular in terms of research areas, and all of that is really scratching the surface. It's such a vast field, and I'm very glad to see that you're immediately connecting it to feeling, because as you were saying regarding how decisions are made, regarding how our lives are, that really is close to the heart of the matter of why it's important.
Right, right, and it's also important to understand that on one hand, yes, we can and should use feelings. On the other hand, there are, as the research shows, there are ways that we can be fooled by playing around with our feelings. And so it's quite important to be aware of those biases when they become systematic. One of the things that always been interesting to me is how when interest is interacting with feelings, it often changes them. And we tend to believe strongly that what is in our interest is actually good and feels good to other people. And that's obviously not always the case. So it will be also interesting to see if there are ways to set up experiments and also institutional arrangements in the area of planning and urban design, where we can account for those interests, because people are always interested when they develop projects. We account for those interests, but to some degree are able to provide judgment that is interest-free. A little bit similar to the way that juries are, when they have to judge on court cases, that they have to pass certain tests of non-involvement in order to make sure that they are not in some way biased towards either the plaintiff or the defendant.
Oh, fantastic. So using knowledge of bias and getting underneath an individual perspective to get to what you called that 90%, to get to what is truly the objective feeling, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Because obviously, just to give an example, if I'm a developer and I want to develop a high-rise building in the midst of a low-rise or middle-rise neighborhood, then I will present it and defend it as something that obviously makes great sense. And the city, who may be getting some benefits, and decision makers who may be getting some benefits, and definitely improves the tax situation, they will have very good reasons to agree with that this project provides benefits. But if we put it to the test of, I don't know, 10, 12 people who are neither local residents nor somehow involved in getting benefits from the projects, they may more likely decide based on what is really their feelings rather than their self-interest in either defending against the project or promoting it. So this is something that I'd like to be able to test in the coming few years, and within the framework of the Building Beauty program. Thank you.
Thank you very much.